This is now where you start setting up your business profile. So you have got 3 options with which you can set up your business profile. You have 3 options with which you can set up your business profile. You notice that all the 3 options are given here with some simple information or maybe some basic information about what each step entails also given. The first one is Express Start. What does Express Start say? It says, answer some basic questions and we'll do the rest. You can always make changes later. You notice this is the recommended option for new users because it's an easier one, which QuickBooks will basically perform all the roles. Your role will only be to answer some simple questions, then QuickBooks will do the rest. Next, it says, control the setup and fine-tune the company file. This is detailed start. From detailed start here, this is where you know what you are doing. And basically, you want to do everything, you want to control everything that you are doing. Then we have create, which says create a new company file based on existing one. These 2 options, the Express Start and the detailed start, here you are creating a very, very new company. But if you check on the last option here, the create, this is a scenario where you have an existing company profile within your system. But the new company profile that you want to create, you want it to be in line with your existing company profiles that you have. So if that is your case, then you are going to choose on the option, create a new company file based on existing one. For now, I want all of us to choose on the option, Express Start. So click on Express Start.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Yes, this is Mary Ajaga.
Right. So we are here. Now you notice that you only need to follow these steps. If you check here, you have 3 steps that you need to follow. The first one is to tell QuickBooks about yourself. The second step will be your personal contact information. And the third step is any additional information. Then from here, you will be right to start using QuickBooks. Now, the first option that is required, notice that these ones that are in asterisks are mandatory requirements. So the first one is company name. The first one is company name. So let's have our company name. We can say maybe ABC Limited. ABC Limited as our company name, as our sample company name. We can have ABC Limited. ABC Limited. Then from the company name, you are supposed to choose on your industry, or you are supposed to choose on the industry. Once you key in the company name, next you're supposed to choose on the industry. What is industry? Industry is now your business category, okay? Industry is your business category. Like for example, are you a manufacturing company? Are you a consultancy company, right? Are you an accountancy company? Are you a charitable organization? It could be a non-governmental organization or a not-for-profit making organization. It could be a public limited company or all that. What kind of business are you? So if you are here, you notice that you're supposed to type the industry where you are in. But if you don't know your specific industry, then you can ask QuickBooks to help you choose. So beside the space for industry over here, you have the option, help me choose. So I'm going to click on help me choose. And once you click on that, once you click on the option, help me choose, over here you have the options, accounting or bookkeeping, advertising or public relations, agriculture, farming, and all that list. So from here, if you were stuck, then you can actually tell QuickBooks to help you choose on your specific industry. Then from here, you'll be able to get it. If you cross-check against these specific accounts, let's say, for instance, I click on accounting or bookkeeping. These are the chart of accounts that will be associated with that particular account. If I click, for instance, on estate agent, then over here I have the specific accounts that are associated with it. And for instance, if you check, for instance, like on the income accounts, you'll have property management income, letting income, administration fees from tenants, commission on property sales, you have commission on rentals. We are going to see how the chart of account works later on once we as we proceed with this. Over from here, we have financial services, gardening, hotels and restaurants. You have got hair salon and beauty. So basically, QuickBooks matches any of your business needs. So for now, I'd want all of us to move on with general product-based business. So click on general product-based business. I think it's the third, how do you say that? The third last. The third last. So general product-based business. Click on that. Once you click on general product-based business, click OK. Once you click on general product-based business, then you click OK. Then from there, we have the company type. Company type, this is your registered company type. By the time you are doing a registration by the registrar of companies, what was the type of company that you registered? Did you register a public limited company? Did you register a private company? Did you register a partnership? Did you register a sole proprietorship business? Or what type of company did you register? So that is what we are supposed to key in here. So under company type, if you click on this drop down over here, you have got the options: sole trader, partnership, company, which is limited liability or unlimited, non-profit, and other or none. Now, suppose you don't know what is this sole trader, what is partnership, what is company, what is non-profit. Over here, you have the option help me choose. So if I click on the option help me choose, you notice that QuickBooks will give me some brief explanation about these particular company types. QuickBooks will give me some brief explanation about these different company types. So over here, the first one is what? Sole trader. The first one is actually sole trader. And if you know, if you look on the sole trader, QuickBooks tells you this is an unincorporated business with one owner. Partnership, an unincorporated business owned by two or more partners. Same to company and non-profit making organization. This is just to give you a guide. Suppose you don't know what you are doing or you don't know the different categories of businesses that you may have. For now, let's all use company, limited liability, or unlimited. So once you select on company, just click OK. Over here, you have got what? You have got the VAT scheme. You have got the VAT scheme. And if you click on the drop down, you notice you have got three VAT schemes. The first one is none, which actually means that you are not VAT registered. Okay, you are not VAT registered. Then we have got the two remaining options: standard and flat rate. We have got the standard scheme and we have the flat rate scheme. Now, what's the difference between standard scheme and the flat rate scheme? What is the difference between standard scheme and the flat rate scheme? Ladies and gentlemen, this is just like the currency exchange rates. With the currency exchange rates as well, we have got standard currency exchange rates, and we also have the flat rate currency exchange rates. What are standard currency exchange rates? These are the ones that normally exist in the market, the one that each business will set for themselves. But we have got the recommended ones that are actually set by the CBK, that is the market existing rates. You notice that, for instance, sometimes if you are doing currency exchange, you notice that, for instance, if a Kenyan shilling is going against the dollar at 150, then if you do your bank transactions, then you notice that the bank will not convert to you Kenya shillings to dollar at 150, which is actually the standard scheme. They will convert the dollar into Kenya shillings using the flat rate scheme, which may be lower than 150. Talk about something like 120 or 130. That is the difference between the two. For VAT scheme, you are supposed to choose on this if you are VAT registered. But I want you to notice something. The moment you select on any VAT registration like the standard scheme, you notice that the VAT registration number then becomes mandatory. But in this instance here, we do not have the VAT registration number. So just say none. Under VAT scheme, please say none. Thank you, Musabi. She tells us about the dollar Kenya shillings currency exchange rate at 148. Thank you. So under VAT scheme, say none. Then once you are done, click continue. So over here, you're supposed to enter your business contact information. Enter your business contact information. So the first one, is the legal name. You notice it's already picking ABC Limited because we put this from our previous window. Next is the address. What is the address of your business? This is the PO box that we normally talk about. So for instance, it could be PO box 334. Your city could be Nairobi. This is just an example. They are not a must. They are not a must. County, talk about maybe Nairobi. Postcode, say 00100, for example. Country, where is your business operating? Okay. Where is your business operating? Where is your business operating? We have here Kenya. We have Kenya. Phone number, what is your business phone number? Okay. What is your business phone number? What is your business phone number? So if you have a phone number, you're going to key in that. You are going to key in a phone number if you have. Email address, what is your business email address? Notice that this email address that you are going to key in here, anytime when you want to share an invoice to your customers. This mostly happens with real-time softwares. Like for instance, if you move on to QuickBooks Online, I will be able to show you how you can generate an invoice. And on the instance, you are able to share that invoice to your customers. So once you generate an invoice from your system, then just at the go, you are able to directly share that invoice to your either your customer or to whoever that invoice is concerned as you do your printing or maybe before you make your payment. Those are what we call the real-time systems. Those are what we call the real-time systems. So your email probably could be ABC Limited maybe at gmail.com. ABC Limited at gmail.com. Just an example, abclimited at gmail.com. Then over here, you have the option for your website. If you have a website, you can key in, maybe say, for instance, www.abclimited.com. Just an example. But you notice that these information that are available, that are required here, they are not mandatory. Let me move to the chat box. I can see there are so many messages. From here, I'm just going to click on Create Company File. So click on the option, Create Company File. You click on the option to create company file. So give it some time as it runs. Right. Now from here, you have got these options. Add the people you do business with. All right. Add the people you do business with. Notice that the people you do business with, these are your customers and these are your suppliers. We had already talked about this. The people you do business with. These are your customers and these are your suppliers. Suppose you have probably, say, for instance, a CSV file that you have of your customers or a CSV file that contains a list of your suppliers with their respective information. You can always import that to QuickBooks. Then QuickBooks will automatically do that. So instead of adding the details of your suppliers and your customers one by one, you can always create that in a separate CSV file. Then once you are done, you basically upload that file then into QuickBooks. But you need to notice that there's a specific format in which your Excel sheet should be saved in. If you just save it in a normal Excel file, then it's not going to pick up that. You will get a template from here. Next, add the products and services you sell. What do you sell? All right. What do you sell? We talked about this. What do you sell? So we have whom do you do business with and what do you do? Then you have the option to add your bank accounts. Add your bank accounts. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, for you to perform any transactions in this system, you cannot be able to perform any transaction without a bank account. But I want you to notice that on QuickBooks Desktop, you cannot be able to have a real-time banking system. In other words, what I mean is you cannot be able to link your real bank account to your system in QuickBooks. So that means that what you will do here is to basically create a dummy bank account. So any transaction that you do in your bank, you must always record the same transaction in your QuickBooks system. But if you are operating, say, for instance, on QuickBooks Online, then it basically means that what you can do is just to simply link up your QuickBooks Online banking system to your real banking system. Then from there, once you initiate a transaction in QuickBooks banking system, the same is reflected to your real banking system. So you don't need to go practicing or rather doing duplicate work each and every time. You go to the bank, you withdraw 30,000, you come back to your account, you say you've withdrawn 30,000. So everything is real time. What you need to set is only some security controls. Over here, I want you to leave this information pending because notice that this is information that comes at the interface once. Once we finish up this, then it will not be there. Suppose you miss out on this stage. How will you key in this information? So for now, just keep this and click on this option over here saying start working. There's an option down here which says start working. So click on that option, working. You may get many pop-up windows. You may get many pop-up windows. Just close all of them. You may get many pop-up windows. Just close all of them. And where you have an option, don't show this again. You can just check on it. You can just check on that option. Don't show this again. Then you close that particular window. So like, for instance, this one, question live community, just close it. Please note, if you go online. Now, we are now set. We are now set. And just like any other software, we have the interface, and then we have the menu bar. Just like any other software, we have the interface, and then we have the menu bar. The menu bars, we have quite a number of them. We have quite a number of tabs here. We will see the role of each of these as we proceed. We cannot explain the role of each of them. The first one over here, we have got the file, the edit, the view, list, favorites, accountant, company. We have customers tab, the suppliers, employees, banking, reports, windows, help, and all that. Over here to the left, we have some shortcuts. Notice that if the shortcuts are maybe overlapping your page, there is this arrow pointing to the left that you can basically click on it to collapse your shortcuts pane. So if your shortcuts you see like maybe you don't want to have them, they are overlapping your page, then you can basically collapse on your shortcuts pane. If you want to bring it back, you just again come and click on this arrow. Now you'll find it pointing to the right. Just click on it, and that will bring back, or that will expand your shortcuts pane. I will show you the use of these shortcuts as we proceed further. Now, over here on top is the title bar. And if you check here, it displays the name of the current active company profile, ABC Limited. Please notice that you may have multiple company profiles. You may have multiple company profiles. In the case where you have multiple company profiles, please make sure that any transaction that you are keying in, you are keying in that transaction in the right company profile. You may be, say, for example, you may be a bookkeeper, all right? Maybe, for example, you are a consultant. And if you're a consultant, then you can use this one software to keep books of maybe, for example, say 5 clients or even up to 10 clients, because you can actually be able to create multiple company profiles on this system. So if you're using the same file to do bookkeeping, for example, for 5 clients, then make sure that the transaction that you are keying in, you are keying it in the right company profile. Where will you know that? We'll note it from the title bar here. Over here, you see right now we have ABC Limited, which is our open company profile. If you have another company profile, you need then to go back and open that company profile and then cross-check that you are doing the right entry. Now, we are just going to move directly to set up whom do we do business with. That is what we are going to do next. Whom do we do business with? Whom do we do business with? We talked about here 2 categories of people. We talked about suppliers. We talked about customers. Now, let's say, for instance, we have got customers that we do business with. But before we key in customers, I want us to first of all key in our what? Our suppliers. Let's first of all key in our suppliers. Now,
if you want to key in a new supplier, it is good to have a track record of your suppliers within your system. So if you want to key in a new supplier into your system, if you come to your tabs here or to your menu, you have got the suppliers tab here. File, edit, view, lists, favorites, accountant, company, customers, then suppliers. So move over to suppliers, go and click on suppliers. Then if you click on suppliers, all transactions related to suppliers, you will always do it from the suppliers tab there. Once you click on suppliers, you have got the option supplier center, bill tracker, enter bills, pay bills, and item list. I'm going to show you the role of these other items as we go, as we move forward. But for now, we are going to use the supplier center. So click on supplier center. So I'm saying click on suppliers, then supplier center. Right? So that opens up your supplier center. That opens up your supplier center. Now, for you to avoid confusion, please, I want you to collapse these shortcuts. So kuja hapa katika hii arrow pointing to the left, click on it to collapse that shortcut. Click on it to collapse that shortcut. Now, this is the supplier center. This is the supplier center. And actually, you can enlarge it just like if you've used Excel, you can just maximize this particular page by clicking on this box here. Maximize on it. Now, if you are here, notice that again, we have two panes. We have the pane to the left and we have the pane to the right. And again, at the supplier center, we also have the menus. We have new supplier, new transactions, print, Excel, Word, bill tracker. New supplier over here, this is when you want to create a new supplier or you want to add multiple suppliers. New transactions is when you want to enter a transaction against a supplier. Okay, you want to enter a transaction against a supplier. You will choose on the option new transaction. We have the option here for print. Say for instance, your supplier has sent you an invoice, or for example, you've just paid your supplier and you want to print that payment voucher, or you want to print your supplier list. Come to this option here, print. We're going to see the role of this print, but you need to be connected to a supplier. So you can print supplier list, you can print supplier information, or you can print supplier transaction list, but we'll see more about that. Excel, you want to export your supplier list to Excel. That is, you have a list of your suppliers in your system, and now you want to get it to Excel. Maybe you want to you want to give a hard copy of a list of your suppliers, for instance, to your boss. You need to export your supplier list into a form like, for example, Excel. Then from there, you can be able to do what? You can be able to print it, or maybe you want to perform some analytics on it. Export transactions. You can export your supplier transactions into Microsoft Excel. From here, you'll be able to do analysis from Microsoft Excel. And over here now, you can see suppliers maybe from whom you purchase from most, suppliers giving you the most discounts and all that information. Then you have the option import from Excel. Import from Excel is when you have your supplier list in Microsoft Excel format. And therefore, you want to bring that list into QuickBooks. You're going to choose on the option import from Excel. When you choose on that option, it tells you add or edit multiple list entries. Manage your customer, supply, and item list in all that. Paste from Excel to quickly add new or edit, add existing. Choose list, add or edit suppliers to begin making multiple entries. So if you'd like QuickBooks to take you there now, you click yes. I'm not going to click on yes because I don't want QuickBooks to take me there now. So I'm just going to close on this. Then from there, you have Word. Once again, just like what? Just like Excel, prepare supplier letters, customize letter templates, and prepare tax agencies. Then we have got the bill tracker. I'm going to show the role of that later on as we proceed. Now, If you come back to your left pane, the first option here is for suppliers, right? The first option over here is for who? Is for suppliers. The first option over there is for suppliers. The first option over here is for suppliers. Then beside it, we have transactions. So if you want to view your supplier transactions, just go and click on what? Just go and click on transactions. Then you can be able to see your supplier transactions. And over here, you can see different categories of transactions. We have bills, bill payments. So bills are outstanding, okay? Bills are outstanding. Those expenses or transactions that you have entered into your system, but you have not yet made payment for them. Those are what we call bills. Then we have bill payments. These are payments that are complete. Checks, self-explanatory. Credit card activities, self-explanatory. Suppose you have transactions within here, you'll be able to see all those transactions. Let's move back to suppliers. So over here from suppliers, you have got the first supplier who is a default. You have a default supplier here who is tax agency sales. You have a default supplier here. These tax agency sales taxes. And this supplier, notice that this is here by default because this software is from the UK. All right, this software is from the UK. So this is how their systems have been customized to avoid tax evasion. It is just like right now where KRA is bringing in the new aspect of e-teams, from where any item that you want to do or any transaction that you want to do, it must be e-teams generated. The same happens in the UK. Over here, the tax agency is here as a supplier by default. So you cannot remove this particular supplier. But anyway, it's not going to affect our transactions because you're not going to do any transaction against this tax agency. Now, let's say, for example, we want to key in a new supplier. So from this list, you'll be able to access all lists of your suppliers. But what about if you want to key in a new supplier? So just right click on any space here from your left pane, right click on any space, Once you right click, you have the options to find. That is if you want to find a supplier, use a supplier, edit supplier, new supplier, delete supplier, and all those other information. So for now, we want to key in a new supplier. So come and say new supplier. Once you right click, you have the option new supplier. So click on new supplier, click on new supplier, click on new supplier. That takes you to a window from where now you can be able to key in your supplier information. That takes you to the window from where you can be able to key in your supplier information. Over here, the first option that you have is to key in your supplier name, So say, for instance, we have a supplier, CPA Masara. We have a supplier, CPA Masara. Is, for example, our supplier. That is the supplier name. Then over here, you have the option opening balance. What is this opening balance? You are just migrating maybe from another accounting system, or you are opening a new financial year. So do you have any outstanding balance with this particular supplier? It is like the way you key in opening balances when making your transactions or when making your journals. That's the same thing that you're supposed to key in here. If you have any opening balances with this particular supplier, you key it in there. But I'm going to leave it blank. Then we have as of. When is this opening balance due? So I'm just going to leave it blank for now because we do not have any. Over here, you have the option company name. Now, the first one is supplier name, CPA Masara. Then we have company name. Say, for example, CPA Masara works with Coca-Cola Company Limited. So CPA Masara is the specific supplier that you deal with from Coca-Cola Company Limited. So in that instance, CPA Masara becomes the supplier name, whereas the company name becomes Coca-Cola, right? The company name over here becomes Coca-Cola Limited. I believe you get the difference between supplier name and company name. If CPA Masara has got a company on his name called CPA Masara, then you'd repeat the same under company name to be CPA Masara. They don't need to be different. So you can repeat the same. The first one is basically just a simple supplier name. But now if you want to key in the full name, you have the option here. The first option here, you give a title, is it a Mr., a Miss, a Doctor, or others. Na wale wa others. Utapata tu pia chance yako iko. Key in the first name, middle name, the last name. So let's say, for instance, the first name, right? So let's give the title. Let's give the title. And the title over here is CPA. I know those with CPA wouldn't want us to give you any other title apart from that. So the title here would be CPA. Then the first name, say for instance, Frederick. CPA Masala will give you a new name today, don't worry. After you key in the first name, then we have middle name. Middle name, this place written MI. This is the middle name. So say for instance, CPA Frederick Maina, last name Masara. So that is what you're supposed to key in. Then we have the job title. We have the job title. Job title. What title do CPA Masara hold from Coca-Cola Limited? Is CPA Masara the HR at Coca-Cola Limited? Is CPA Masara maybe the head of supply chain management at Coca-Cola Limited? Is CPA Masara the accountant at Coca-Cola Limited? Or what is the job title of CPA Masara? Say, for instance, supply chain manager. I don't know if there exists such a title. Supply chain manager. Just an example, supply chain manager. Main phone. What is the main phone number for CPA Masara? This is now the contact information for what? For your supplier. This is the contact information for your supplier. So you'll key in the phone number, work phone, that is their work phone number again, just key in that. Then you have got the mobile, you key in the mobile if you have. Fax, if you have, you're gonna key it in. Then the main email for CPA Masara, CC email. Say for instance, anytime you do a transaction with CPA Masara, when you send them an email, it is a requirement that you CC that email to another email, maybe their boss, or maybe to your boss. So you key in the CC email here. The importance of this is that the next time you do a transaction, QuickBooks will automatically pick up this CC email and adjust it as it is required to be. Website, any other information. Now, what is this? This is address information. Over here, I have the option build from. I have the option build from. Build from. Then to the right, shipped from. Build from and shipped from. Just a minute, I'm going to explain to you the difference between build from and shipped from. Okay, sorry. Now, I have the option build from and shipped from. Build from and shipped from. Now, let me give you this instance, still using Coca-Cola Company Limited. Now, assume that maybe Coca-Cola Limited have their head offices industrial area, or they have their head offices pipeline. I don't know. Let me use industrial area. Okay. So if Coca-Cola Limited have got their head offices industrial area, then they have got distributors within the country at different parts. These distributors, ladies and gentlemen, they are authorized to perform a transaction on behalf of Coke. So say, for example, you are taking a product from an authorized distributor of Coca-Cola who is in pipeline. But the products for which you are paying for are coming from the head office of Coca-Cola Limited, which is in industrial area. Then billed from would be your pipeline address. Then shipped from would be where the specific goods now are coming from as they are coming to you. If it's the same, you're just gonna select on this option here, copy. Then you click OK. The same will be translated here. So everything is okay at that stage. Let me confirm if we are all together with you. Are we together?
We are
Right?
okay. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, this is address information. Notice that there are different information that you're supposed to set up about your supplier. The first one is address information, which is actually what we have keyed in. Next is payment settings. Now you can always set up your supplier payment details within your system so that you don't need to go asking for their payment details each and every time that you want to pay them. So if you go to payment settings, the first option that we have here is what? The account number. All right, the account number. So under account number here, you need to key in the account number of what? The account number of your supplier. You need to key in the account number of your supplier. Okay, the account number of your supplier. Once you key in the account number of your supplier, then we have the payment terms. We have over here the payment terms. So payment terms here, I want you to be attentive. Payment terms here, please be attentive. Payment terms here. All right, I saw some text here. Let me just do something. Okay, now under payment terms, notice when I click on this drop down here for payment terms, I have the following options. Number one, 1%, 10 net 30. 1%, 10 net 30. 1%, 10 net 30. 2%, 10 net 30. Consignment, due on receipt, net 15, net 30, net 60. What's the meaning of all these information that I have here? Number one, if I talk about, for example, the first payment term, 1%, 10 net 30. This means you are purchasing goods from this particular supplier on credit. Okay? You are doing your credit purchase from your supplier. With 1%, 10 net 30, it means that you are supposed to pay for those goods within 30 days. So your invoice will be due 30 days. But here, your supplier is maybe giving you an encouragement to pay earlier. And if you pay earlier, your supplier has got a special gift for you. This information over here means that if you pay within 10 days, then your supplier will be able to give you a discount of 1%. So if you are supposed to pay 100 shillings, then your supplier will give you a discount of 1%, so you'll be able to pay 90 shillings. I don't know if it's 90 or it's 99. Whatever it will be, I guess 90. That is the interpretation of this. 1%, 10, net 30. The due date is 30 days. But if you repay within 10 days, your supply will give you a discount of 1%. The same to number 2, 2%, 10, net 30. Due date is 30 days, but if you pay within 10 days, your supply will give you a discount of 2%. This depends on the agreement terms that you have with who? With your supplier. Due on receipt. This means that upon receipt of the goods, that is when the invoice is what? The invoice is overdue. So you're supposed to pay immediately. You receive the invoice. Net 15. This just means that you're supposed to pay your invoice within 15 days. Net 30, you're supposed to pay within 30 days. Net 60, you're supposed to pay within 60 days. Here you have the option to add new. So maybe if the supplier terms that are here do not fit you, you can basically click on this option, add new. Then this will open a window from where you can be able to do what? From where you can be able to add new terms with your supplier. Great. Print name on check as. When you are giving your supplier a check, this is where you are making check payment. So how should the name of your supplier appear on the check? How should the name of your supplier appear on your check? That is what you're supposed to key in here. Maybe the name is Coca-Cola Limited, but they do not want their name to be printed on the check as Coca-Cola Limited. Maybe if you're dealing with a specific supplier, CPA Masara, they want it to be CPA Masara Coca-Cola Limited. Just an example. So you key in here the name as it is supposed to be on the check. Sometimes this company, maybe the name that you have in your system is Coca-Cola Limited, but their bank account is not Coca-Cola Limited. Maybe their bank account is Coca-Cola. You notice that the name that should be on the check is the name that is on their bank account. So over here, print name on checkers, it should be the name that is in their bank account. You have the option for what? Credit limit. We have the option for credit limit. What is the role of this credit limit option over here? The role of this credit limit option, now, you are purchasing goods on credit from who? From your supplier. You are purchasing goods on credit from your supplier. You move on today, and then you go and tell your supplier that, all right, I want goods worth 1 million on credit. I'm going to pay you within some days. Here, your supplier has to review on some specific items before you agree on the credit limit that your supplier will be giving you. For instance, what is the frequency of purchase or the frequency from which you purchase from your supplier? Number 2, what is the bulkiness of your transactions? By the bulkiness of your transactions, I mean, kuna wale ukienda kwa duka, you have never purchased anything above 100 shillings. You have never purchased above 50 shillings. Then you want to go to the shop and tell the shopkeeper, please give me these goods worth 500. You go and tell the shopkeeper, tafadhali, nipatie sukari kilo mbili. How much is sukari kilo mbili right now? About 450 shillings. But you have never crossed the 50 shillings mark when you go to purchase. Do you think the shopkeeper will give you that discount? I mean, that credit? Not really. So they will review your transaction history. Okay? They will review your transaction history. The same happens with your supplier. So if you have got a set credit limit with your supplier, then you're gonna key in that credit limit here. Say, for example, you have agreements with the supplier that you can always pick up goods on credit, but up to a maximum of 500,000 shillings. You're gonna key in 500,000 shillings in that space. You have the next option, billing rate level. If you have any option, you're gonna key it in there. Bank details, account name, well, you're going to key in the account name here. Notice that here we have account number. We have got the account number, and then here we have the account name. So here you're supposed to key in the account name of that particular account. The sort code, this is a code that enables you to easily do what? It is a code that enables you easily, easily do what? Easily find out your bank whenever you're making up transactions. Account number, just a replicate of what you have up here. What is your what? What is your account number? That is about payment VAT settings. Where you are charging your supplier VAT, or where your supplier is charging you VAT. You're supposed to make your payments or generate your payments. If it is an invoice, the invoice is VAT pre-charged when it is generated. So here, you're supposed to key in the VAT registration number, either for your supplier or your own VAT registration number, based on the terms that you have with your suppliers. Account settings tell us which expense accounts to pre-fill when you enter bills for this supplier. Now, say for example, this supplier, you are dealing with them for specific goods. So you always want these goods to affect some particular expense accounts. For example, if it's Safaricom, you always want that to go to your what? To go to your telephone expenses. So you are going to direct your system that anytime you perform any transaction with this particular supplier, anytime you pay a bill to this particular supplier, that particular bill should always affect my telephone account. I'm going to show you later how accounts are affected in QuickBooks and how you select the right account for your own transactions. Additional information, if you have any, you can key in. Over here, you see we have got supplier type, consultant. What is the nature of your supplier? So supplier, consultant, are they service providers, just general suppliers, tax agency, or what kind of suppliers are you dealing with? If the category is not here, just click on the option add new. Then over here, you'll be able to see supplier type. You just key in the type that you want over here, then you can be able to proceed. That is it that you need to know about entering supplier information. So once you're done with this, just key in OK. Just click OK. Once you click OK, over here, if you check on the right pane, you can see the option CPA Masara. This is now your supplier with a balance of 0.00. To the right, you have got the specific details of who? Of CPA Masara. You have the supplier information. You have the supplier information for CPA Masara. Okay. So let's key in another supplier. Let's key in another supplier. So just right click, then say new supplier. Right click and then you say new supplier. So we have who? We have a Jack. We have a Jack. So just key in the supplier name and the company name. A Jack Limited. Jack Limited. Then here, copy this, ship to this particular person. So these other information are not, they're not very, very much important. But I was just taking you through the first step so that if in case you need to do any transaction regarding these ones, then you can be able to know what you're supposed to set. And in a real practical environment, of course, you will have to set this information if you have them. Once you are done, just click OK. So now you have got two suppliers. You have two suppliers. So if you click on a Jack, you're able to supply information here. You click on CPA Masara, you're able to see their particular information here. Somebody is talking. Somebody is talking. All right. Now that is how you enter supplier information. That is how you enter supplier information. That is how you enter supplier information. So I'm going to send you a list. I'm going to send you a list that will have some suppliers. Please key in those supplier information before we move to the next class. So before we get to the next class, kindly ensure that you have keyed in the supplier information in this system before we get to the next class. Next, we look at how to enter your customer information. We look at how to enter your customers information. We look at how to enter your customers information. So to do that, go to Customer Center, go to Customers, go to Customers. From your menus, over here you have the option Customers. Then if you check here, you are able to see a list of all transactions that you can do with your customers. You have a list of all transactions which you can do with your customers. So over here, what you want to do right now is just to key in customer information. So go to Customer Center, click on Customer Center. Click on Customer Center. Click on Customer Center. So I'm not going to take much time explaining about this because the information is just related to what we have done under the suppliers. The difference is that this is now a customer, the other one is a supplier. That is the main difference. So to add supplier information over here, come and right click, then you say new customer. 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 Over here, again, you have the option to key in your customer name. You have the option to key in what? Key in your customer name. You have the option to key in your customer name. So say, for instance, your customer here is who? Brenda. Say your customer over here is Brenda. So customer name is going to be Brenda. Customer name is going to be Brenda. Opening balance, just the same information that we gave under supplier. The difference is that right now you are dealing with a customer. Company name, Brenda is your customer. Where does Brenda work? From which company do Brenda come from? Brenda comes from BFM Limited. Brenda comes from BFM Limited. Full name, you are going to key in that if you have. Then we have job title. What is the job title of Brenda at BFM Limited? Of course, the other ones are contact information that we talked about. Move again to payment settings. Just the same information that we keyed in over here. But now you will notice that for your customers, you have got additional information here where you have got the preferred, number one, preferred delivery method, and number two, preferred payment method. You have got the preferred delivery method and number two, preferred payment method. If you click on the option for preferred delivery method, you have got the option here for email or mail. So how do you always want this particular payment information, that is invoice, to be delivered? I'm going to choose on that. You've got the preferred payment method. How do you prefer your customers to pay you? Or how do your customers prefer paying you? Do they prefer paying you through cash? Do they prefer giving you payment through the American Express? Do they prefer paying you through standing orders, direct debit, MasterCard? Or how do your suppliers prefer paying you? Sorry, not your suppliers, but your customer. If none, just click on add new, then you're going to add that information. Credit card information. If your supplier pays you via credit card, what is the credit card number, the expiration date of your credit card number, name of the card, the address, and the postcode of your customer's credit card number. Over here, you have again the option for credit limit. Over here, again, you have the option for credit limit. Just like in the supplier center where you had the credit limit, the difference is that when it comes to the customer center, now it is you as a business, as ABC Limited, who is now setting up the credit limit now for your customer. In the first instance, it was the supplier setting up the credit limit to you as their customer now. Remember, when you are dealing with a supplier, you become the customer, and the other one is your supplier. But in this instance now, where you are keying in customer information, over here, you are the supplier and you have the customer. And therefore, when keying in customer information under credit limit, it is you who is setting up credit limit for your customer. Again, different factors have to be considered when keying in this. Is it going for your credit limit? What is the frequency of purchase of your customer? Is this a one-time customer or do they purchase frequently? What is the load of their transaction as they do it? Right? Just the same factors that your supplier could consider when doing this. You're going to do the same. Okay. I think I saw some question here. What about a situation where a customer pays in both credit card and cash? Now, where your customer pays in both credit card and cash, we'll look at this later on when we are looking at creating what? Customer transactions. The option that is available here is only a preferred payment method. They have to prefer one, not two. All right? They cannot have a preference of paying you using credit card and cash. No. It has to be either cash or credit card. We are not saying that if your preference is cash, then your customer cannot use credit card. They can. When keying in the specific transaction that for which your customer has paid for, later on, we will see that there's an option to key in the payment method. It is from there that you will choose the payment method that your customer has used. The preferred payment method, this is here because anytime you are keying in a transaction from your customer, your preferred payment method will always pick by default, but you can always change this to read the specific payment method that your customer used to pay you. VAT settings. Remember as a supplier, you need to do what? You need to transfer VAT to your customer. So over here, if the specific product is VAT charged, if you're selling, for instance, a pen, say, for example, VAT on a pen is 3 bob. If you're supposed to sell that pen at 10 bob, then you need to charge VAT of 3 bob to this particular customer. So as a business, you will always transfer your VAT amount to your customers. So you will charge that VAT amount to that particular customer. So that means that you need to key in your customer VAT registration number here so that they are charged that VAT. Additional info, if any, over here again, we have got customer type. So you can always have different types of customer. If you are doing marketing, you can have a category of your customers. You can have them, are they customers from advertisement? Are they customers from referral? Are they customers who are retail or wholesale customers? You can have different categories that you want to set as you want. If not available in this list, simply click on add new, then you can be able to add your customer type. Job info, that is basically the job specialization of your customer from where they work from. That is in terms of their what? In terms of their company. Okay. So what is the job description of this particular customer from the company where they work? What is their job type? Are they commercial or residential? What is their job status? Are they maybe permanent? Are they on contract? Are they pending? That is when they are marked pending from their own company, awarded, in progress, closed, or not awarded. So you need to always match that. Here where we have got the option closed, maybe we were dealing with Musabi as a customer from where? From Safaricom. But Musabi has since then ceased working with Safaricom and is now working as an independent consultant. So we need to come back here, and instead of creating a new file for Musabi, we just come and edit the job status here, and we say closed. So that means that they are no longer working with Safaricom. End date, once you mark it closed, then you mark the start date, and then of course, the end date from where they were working. Masara is saying, you are losing me, kindly confirm if you can hear me well. Confirm if you can hear me well. We are almost finishing. Confirm if you can hear me well. Thank you, Limo. Maybe Masara, kindly check on your internet because Limo can hear me well. Thank you, Brenda. So Masara, kindly check on your internet. Masara. Thank you. Now, this is what is entailed to what? To customer information. This is what is entailed to customer information. What about when a customer is buying for his company and provides the company PIN? Yes. So in that instance, where you have the VAT settings here, remember, if you are a customer from a company, you are purchasing goods for a company, you are a separate entity from that particular company. Therefore, the VAT liability is supposed to go to the company, not to you. You are only an agent on behalf of the company. So you need to key in the VAT registration number of the company, not the individual VAT registration number. You key in the VAT registration number of what? Of the company. So that is transferred to the company. Remember here again, that we have address information here. We have got the customer name. The customer name is just for transparency from the company. But well, we are working with this particular customer, but we are dealing with a specific individual. So this person is an agent. Brenda, for instance, is an agent on behalf of BFM Limited. And that is why here in additional information, not in additional information, but in job information, you're supposed to key in the job description, the job type, job status, start date, projected end date, and the end date, if any available, so as to provide that clear information about that particular customer. So in that instance, that's what you do. Once you're done, just click OK. So now we have our first customer here, Brenda, with a balance of 0. If you have got any attachment that you want to make for Brenda, you can always do those particular attachments. Maybe if it is Brenda's photo, you can attach Brenda's photo over here. Let's key in one more last one, then we can end the class. So just right click, move over to new customer, right click, move over to new customer, right click, move over to new customer. Before we key in that, Kevin has a question. What about a sole proprietor and the business uses an individual's PIN registered for VAT? Of course, that's a sole proprietor, okay? And remember, one of the characteristics of a sole proprietor is that they have unlimited liability. Sole proprietorship has got unlimited liability. So in case the sole proprietor is not able to settle their own bills, then it means if they're not able to settle their own liabilities, then their individual properties will be taken to settle that. So for the sole proprietorship, if the business is their own and they're using their individual PIN that is registered for VAT, then that is what you are going to key in under VAT number. That is what you are going to key in under VAT registration number if it is a sole proprietorship. A sole proprietorship is very different from a company. For a company, you cannot have individual PIN being your company PIN. That's the difference. So our next customer here, say for example, the customer name here is who? Kevin Masara. Sorry, Kevin Masara is our customer name. Opening balance if you have any. Company name if you have any. If you don't have, you just leave it as it is. So that will start. I will just leave it as it is. I will just leave it as it is. Then I say okay. Then I say okay. So now I have two customers, Brenda and Kevin Masara. I have two customers, Brenda, Kevin Masara. So same to suppliers. For the customers, again, I'm going to share with you a list of some customers that I will require you to key in the details of those particular customers before our next class. So for today, I want us to stop at that point and we meet in our next class.